It's a beautiful day for this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for this beauty. Could you be mine? Won't you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you be? Won't you please? Please won't you be my subscriber? What the f is it with you? It's f***ing distracting when I'm trying to do my work. Do I come into your place and screw with your sound? No, you're a nice guy. You're a nice guy. Answer me. It's f***ing distracting when I'm trying to sing a song. Answer me. I'm gonna f***ing kick your f***ing ass.
All right, glad to be with you. That sound is, of course, the sound of the weekend. I know we're daily now, so it's not always a sound of the weekend, but this is the Thursday live stream. Producing with me in video studio, as always, is Jared, who is not gay. Follow him on the Twitter at NotGayJared. Me at SCrowder. Fulfill my legal obligations. Draw your own conclusions. We're good.
We're good.
Big show.
Big show.
Big show coming up this evening. We had to, by the way, for those who are disappointed, Bo Derek will be moved to next week because Tim Kennedy is on tonight because he's been all over the news. So that was kind of necessary, and we were able to get him in. Anne McElhinney talking about the new Gosnell book she has coming out, of course, in relation to the Women's Life March, and your tweets later on in the program. So be sure to have those live tweets ready. We'll be happy to read them. Big story right now. Big story.
Yes.
Doomsday. Have you guys heard about this?
I have.
Doomsday. This is when it's a slow news cycle. You have stories that actually include the word doomsday. That's how you know it's slow. CBS News, they ran a live stream with scientists. I'm doing a lot of air quotes already.
Yep.
I don't like how this is beginning. Who've decided to now move the doomsday clock up from 3 minutes to midnight to 2.5 minutes to midnight. The quote, world leaders have failed to come to grips with humanity's most pressing existential threats. What am I, John Malkovich? The most pressing existential threats. Nuclear weapons and climate change. Disturbing comment. Nothing for John Malkovich? Okay, I'll work on it. Disturbing comments about the use and proliferation of nuclear weapons made by Donald Trump, as well as the expressed disbelief in the overwhelming scientific consensus on climate change by both Trump and several of his cabinet appointees affected the board's decision, as did the emergence of strident nationalism worldwide. Okay, so Donald Trump was, of course, specifically mentioned, and CBS took this incredible. They took this, what you're reading, very seriously, as displayed by this man at CBS who appears to be soiling himself.
Just moments ago, that doomsday clock moved forward 30 seconds and now stands at 2.5 minutes before midnight. That's the closest to midnight, or the end of the world, as it's been in 64 years.
It is a metaphor, but we are literally minutes away from a nuclear exchange should someone press a button.
Apparently metaphors are quite literal now. It's an analogy, but literally it's not. Also, that guy pooped himself. It doesn't mirror his face. He had kind of that Gary Shandling. Oh, what's this? It matters to the story. Is this?
That's the bullshit phone, I think.
It is. It's the bullshit phone. Hello? Commissioner Bullshit? Yes, sir. Uh-huh, sir. Right away, sir. Understood, sir. You gave a lot of work to yourself with the censor button on that one.
It was catchy, though.
I've just been informed by Commissioner Bullshit that this story is in fact 100% unadulterated bullshit. This is not science. First off, let me clarify this. A live stream of scientists complaining about nationalism and tying that into a political... That's not what science is. That's not what good science makes. And I know people will say you're dealing... No, we're not dealing in junk science, okay? A live stream where you tie a nuclear holocaust directly to Donald Trump, directly to climate change, directly to polar bears dying. These are the same people who've made several other predictions. Isn't it good that we have these examples? If we didn't, you might think we're lying to you. No, if you want that, head on over to CPS. Predictions when Donald Trump would become president. They said the stock market would crash. That was a concrete prediction they made. Dow Jones, for the first time, hit 20,000 yesterday.
Yep.
Another prediction, they said mosques would be a thing of the past as soon as Donald Trump was elected. That has not happened. They also said same-sex marriage would be overturned, was another prediction that they made. Same-sex marriage would be overturned according to their predictions. That has not happened. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump doesn't really care about two rump rangers getting hitched. Doesn't seem to be at the top of his radar right now. The Science March, that's of course why this live stream occurred. The Science March, which implies what? That all Republicans, conservatives are against science.
Yep.
Except these are the same people explaining to you that there are 52 genders. This is the same political wing that predicted the ice caps would melt entirely by 2013. Gone. And then when they realized that wasn't the case, they shift the prediction to 2016, and now we haven't heard from the guy.
By the way, the Florida Keys are still lovely.
They still are lovely. Yeah. Someone tweeted me today, why don't you go to Florida and see all the cities that are dying? And I'm like, well, I actually have relatives in Florida. I visit them every year, and they live on the coast. It's quite lovely. And finally, these are the same people who made the prediction that the polar bears would die off when there are actually more right now, arguably, than ever in recorded history. The only debate is whether they've in fact doubled or tripled or maybe added about 50%, but there are far more polar bears now than there were when Al Gore did his film. So when these people give you these doomsday predictions on a live stream, we can tell you beyond any shadow of a doubt that this is unequivocally bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Bullshit. Okay.
Bullshit.
Play out.
Play it out. Just let it go.
In case we didn't drive that point home. That phone is heavy. I wanted to make sure we didn't put a hole through the wall. Bullshit phone. It's carrying a lot of weight. Something I'd like to get into macro, I think matters, is we were at the march, and some people have asked us, what is it that these people were marching about? And every now and then, people ask me questions, and I really don't have the answer to them. And so it makes me want to ask that question. And it is one of the questions where if I got an answer with new evidence, with new information that I don't currently have, I'd be more than open to changing my opinion. So if there's someone out there who's a feminist or a Black Lives Matter activist who's actually willing to come on the program and set me straight, I would welcome you if you look to our interviews with Sally Cohn, with Christopher Titus, with Zach Ford, with Harrison Greenbaum. We've had plenty of leftists on the show. We really do try and keep it respectful. Even if I disagree with you, I would like to know, what is it when we're talking about equality, these marches? When we asked, they had no answer, but what is equality? I want to know when people say we're fighting for equal rights today, what does that mean? Feminists, what are you talking about? I understand at one point in this country, it'd be, well, we want the right to vote. Good, got it. We want the right to receive equal pay. You should for the same job. We want the right to go out and purchase the same goods or services that men do, or that white people do, or that non-trans people do. Understood. But in 2017, when you go out and you march, and the media refers to this as the biggest modern civil rights march of all time, it begs the question, okay, what civil rights? What are we talking about when we're talking about equality? Now, I know when I talk about equality, I'm talking about equal opportunity. I'm talking about constitutional equality, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And maybe I'm off, but I don't see it today. I mean, I can see how people would have argued, before the gay marriage thing. I don't really think that marriage is a fundamental human right. We can get into that. I guess, trannies being able to take a dump on the neutral bathroom on a plane.
That's important stuff.
That's important, I understand. But beyond that...
These are the bigger issues.
These are the bigger issues. When you have 2 million people getting together, and you have Ashley Judd and Madonna and whoever it is, and they are demanding equal rights, to the point of marching and civil unrest and throwing trash cans through windows because Donald Trump is president, I don't agree with him on everything. But this is a sincere question. If someone can give me an answer, what are the equal rights in 2017 afforded to a white, straight male that is not afforded to a female, to a person of color. You can't say African American. That switched fast to a gay person. Tweet me at SCrowder. I would love to hear that. Speaking of which, HuffPo proudly reported yesterday when a group of women confronted a New Jersey politician, I believe he was the county freeholder, over a joke. Here was his joke. He tweeted it out. He put it on Facebook, sorry. He said something along the lines of, the Women's March, good for you. I want to know, will the women be home in time to cook dinner? Mm-hmm. Pretty benign. You would think.
It's not even that clever.
No, it's not that clever. And so, as you can see from these images, I think we will bring up, there's a video somewhere online, I believe. Women actually lined up at the next public meeting to protest him. There you go. They're literally lined out the door, and they sat and they asked him to apologize, and he did. He did apologize. He said it wasn't meant to offend anybody, and all the strong women in my life who saw it took it for what it was, a joke, and it wasn't enough.
That's a lot of women. Someone definitely missed dinner.
No, they still walked out on him when he was explaining this, and I think we've gone beyond the bend here, where should a politician tweet that from a political account? Maybe not, but has this really wounded you to the point that you have lost all trust in your public servants, that a guy tweeted a joke about sandwiches? And by the way, it's not that much of a joke, because we know that feminists can't cook. Mm-hmm. So of all the people to be upset by the... Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Crowder.
Yes.
My name is Julie.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard that you made a comment regarding the Women's March last week where Ashley Judd made a speech that she was probably on her menstrual cycle.
Did I make a joke about that? I don't recall making that.
Yeah, I think you did.
Did I?
You know what? I'm looking
I don't think I did.
Yeah, I think you actually. I got
think
this.
you did.
I think this happened.
She spent a lot of time on the period thing, which makes me think she's on her period. Ooh. I'm kidding. She's absolutely barren. Let's go to clip 3. Upon reflection, I think I did say that, something like that. Yeah.
So are you going to apologize for that?
I have no intention of apologizing, no.
Oh, I think that's really mean.
Okay, well, thank you. We need to get better security in here.
We do. I don't know how they got in.
How they get in?
It's interesting, too, when we talk about equal rights, that women have seemingly gotten on board with pushing the Black Lives Matter agenda, where when you really understand about Margaret Sanger and what she thought about... Yeah. What can
Hi.
I... Yes.
Didn't you once fat shame a woman by saying her blood type was pudding?
I don't think I said that. I don't believe so.
I think you did.
Actually, I'm looking through kind of the archives here, and I found this.
This is a morbidly obese woman. Okay, for people who are listening terrestrially, look at the picture. I mean, her blood type is pudding.
You know what? I did say that.
So you're going to apologize for that, right?
No, I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. If we want to talk about systemic discrimination, I think it's a conversation we can have. If you want to get to the women's suffrage movement, you want to get to the suffragettes, which are actually different, by the way. Karen Strawn has talked about that, has talked about women getting the right to vote without having bucket duty, without having the draft. If we want to discuss the... Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Crowder.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true that you once made a joke about feminists being raped?
Oh, well, that actually does sound like something I might have done at one point. I don't know if but I don't think it's what she thinks it is.
I did find this one example. I don't know if this is what she's talking about.
Oh, yes, the feminist raped in a forest joke. Well, the context of that was because Lena Dunham and everyone was coming out with fake rape stories, and they were always saying that there was no evidence, and so it wasn't really a rape joke about feminists. It was a joke about feminists just simply accusing rape when there was no evidence, and so I did make that joke.
Yeah, well, you understand that it's still offending. Very much.
I can see.
Yes. Are you planning to apologize for that?
Well, I'm sure you probably saw this one coming. No.
Yes. That's just
Yeah.
terrible.
Okay, all right. Listen, you're gonna have to. Okay, I understand. You're gonna have to bleep that, Jared, for our international audience. That can present a problem.
Problematic.
Look, it looks like it's going to be tough to get a word in edgewise here. We have a lineup out the door.
How did the immigrants
It's
get
almost
in?
like it's like there's a new Star Wars film. I don't know how this happened, and apparently we have to let somebody go in security. We'll be back to talk about equality and talk more about Donald Trump after this. I have to go talk to security.
Timmy wasn't feeling well, so he came in to the doctor for a checkup. Oh, Timmy, just as the doctor suspected. You're a whiny faggot. The good news for you is there's a prescription, Mug Club, clinically proven to reduce whiny faggotry by 49% for only $99 annually, $69 for students, veterans, or active military. LouderWithCrowder.com/Mug Club. 4 out of 5 doctors agree. If you're a whiny faggot, Mug Club's for you.
Get excited. Here we go.
All right, glad to be back. We have Tim Kennedy coming up after the break, then later Ann McElhinney and your tweets. By the way, still going on right now. Shia LaBeouf's He Will Not Divide Us live stream.
That's still happening.
Okay, so still going on. He was arrested. We wrote about this. I think he's out of the clink now. He should be good. We'll check in on that a little bit later because he'll get some press now. People will want to see that. Okay, let's get to this point here. This going macro point, kind of like equality. I don't know. Have you noticed right now that the media and Paul Krugman and New York Times are all saying, you know what? No, it's important. You need to call Donald Trump on his lies. You need to stop being afraid to stand up to Donald Trump. You've been hearing this, right?
Yeah, Keith Olbermann even said it.
Yeah, Keith Olbermann. That's right, Keith Olbermann.
Mr. GQ now.
Mr. Maybelline himself, Keith Olbermann. I don't know what parallel universe are they living in where nobody's speaking out against Donald Trump in the media. I was like, you need to be brave. You need to be willingness. What?
The other day was an entire gender that was supposed to be speaking out.
Yeah, it was an entire gender, according to Aziz Ansari. Good point. An entire gender was speaking out against Donald Trump. And so this is kind of like in the entertainment industry, the idea of a journalist who will forego the money to maintain their honesty and integrity and going after the story. Those kinds of journalists, they only exist in film. In real life, you've got the Dan Rathers, you've got the Brian Williams, you've got the Keith Olbermanns. Here is something on the other side of the coin. Let me present this to you. Not only do they stand up to Donald Trump, they completely bully anyone and everyone who even mildly supports him. As a matter of fact, if you look when it's a slow news day, it is nothing but anti-Trump stories. Listen, I understand this. You should stand up to Donald Trump if he lies. You should stand up to if Sean Spicer is incorrect, if he cites a number that's inaccurate. We do. You can all have even some fun, fun at his expense. I don't know if I just had a stroke with that word twister.
I think you did.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck suck at hosting a show? That was me. That's fine. But then if you look at the media, the ones who are patting themselves on the back incessantly for standing up, and you look at the trivial crap after which they attack the Trumps, it's one of those things where I don't know if they're doing it to try and create a narrative that's false or that they're delusional. What do you think is more likely as a possibility?
I don't know. I think they're probably just addicted to the hatred.
Yes. Addicted.
Yes, they're addicted to the hatred. Just hook it to my veins, BuzzFeed. So let's grab a few examples. Policy, fine. Trade, fine. Even taxes, maybe you disagree. Fine, you can do that. But Samantha Bee, for example, these are the brave journalists. Samantha Bee took it upon herself to go on an entire rant about Donald Trump's inauguration in a, wait for it, in a very bitchy, snide, unfunny way. Now listen, I know you'll say, yes, I do that as well. But I don't act as though I'm brave for standing. Now, of course, it is more brave to do what we do from our side of the aisle, being younger, being conservative on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as you see by the bannings. But there's nothing brave about someone like Samantha Bee standing up to Trump by mocking. Well, you just watch this clip and see if you understand where I'm coming from.
Did I mention the concert was officially called the Make America Great Again ! Welcome celebration? And what makes America great? Apparently, the total absence of any women whatsoever. Trump's concert was like his cabinet, male, overwhelmingly white, and devoid of A-list talent.
She has a vagina. Again, this is standing. People who are terrified into silence don't simply mock someone like the popular girl at high school for not having talented artists. And you know why Donald Trump couldn't get big name artists? Because they were intimidated into silence. It would be braver for them to show up and perform, because then we know that they'd be risking work in the entertainment industry, because you all follow lockstep with each other. So again, let's continue on down this theme of journalists they need to start standing up. Okay, well, what about Seth Meyers, who took it upon himself to mock Donald Trump for watching too much television? Yeah, this is what happens in a slow news cycle. Seth Meyers standing up to Donald Trump, no longer being afraid by mocking his TV watching habits.
It hasn't exactly been a reassuring start for the Trump administration, and some people close to Trump seem very eager to give reporters damning details about where he gets his information from, expressing concern in particular that he watches too much TV. Politico reported this week that, quote, one person who frequently talks to Trump said aides have to push back privately against his worst impulses in the White House and have to control information that may infuriate him. He gets bored and likes to watch TV, so it is important to minimize that. Hey, I hear ya. I'm dealing with the same issue with my son. He's 9 months old, and we're trying to observe a no screens rule, but sometimes he gets cranky, and the only thing that works is Dora the Explorer. So, been there.
Listen, that's kind of funny.
Sure.
Funny. But these are the same people who want you to believe that they're risking jail time by speaking out against an authoritarian figure. I'll continue to present my case. BuzzFeed had an article up, let's bring this up, where they were insisting that Mel Gibson, who's now being nominated for an Oscar, is the definitive Oscar nominee for Trump's America. So let's be clear now. These people want to act as though they need to be brave. They're standing up. They're doing the right thing. Here, they're saying because Mel Gibson at one time went to crazy drunken anti-Semitic tirades, to be fair, could very well still be an anti-Semite.
Could be.
You can take the boy out of the anti-Semitism, but you can't take the Jew hate out of the boy. So I don't know, but the point is because Mel Gibson let's even give them that, may be a current drunken anti-Semite, and he was nominated for something that has nothing to do with his political worldview, but being a fantastic filmmaker, because Mel Gibson is a fantastic filmmaker, warranting recognition, Donald Trump racism.
I could see where they make the connection.
Yeah.
The dots are there. It just takes a little creativity.
But again, I do appreciate the backbone. Same thing, BuzzFeed also took time to point out that searching for bigot or racist on Twitter brings up real Donald Trump. By the way, these people want you to be on the lookout for fake news.
Yes.
You need not concern yourself with news coming from other political points of view. This is breaking. And it's true. It's important because BuzzFeed Ben Smith, does act as though they are real newsmakers. They are real news reporters. This is I know you're probably laughing, right? Congratulations, you're a rational person. You're probably laughing when someone puts the words BuzzFeed and news into the same sentence, but they fancy themselves that way. And they're the ones who've actually written articles saying it's time to stand up against Trump. Right, let's talk about Twitter searches and algorithms and copy paste that to Donald Trump. And pat ourselves on the back. What else do we have? We have, well, there's so much. I mean, we can go down CNN and BuzzFeed, the disaster. But here's something that they even did. It goes all the way down the line, not only making fun of Donald Trump's children. I wasn't that outraged by it. But again, we're talking about this pseudo-bravery. They even went into the files to pull up for a charity event, campaign advisor, campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, a woman who will be praised for breaking through the glass ceiling if it had happened under the umbrella of the DNC or she showed her tits at a march. But because she works with Donald Trump, they had someone doing opposition research, and they decided to make this a headline front page article at Huffington Post. Watch Kellyanne Conway bombing at trying to do stand-up years ago for a charity function. Emphasize on the trying to do stand-up. Roll clip.
But you know, everybody's wondering about my leg. It's the first thing they ask. Kellyanne, what happened to your leg? I'm like, well, everybody heard I was going to be in this comedy show, and they're like, break a leg. So I did. And you think blondes are dumb.
Okay, at first glance, that is pretty bad. But the point is, in order to attack Trump, these people who fancy themselves brave, if it sounds like I'm repeating it because I feel the need to with every single story, keep in mind they're saying we need to be brave and do this. You need to be brave and point out that Kellyanne Conway, who did some stand-up for a charity function, isn't good at it? This is news? I think I agree with Van Jones on this.
What in the holy heck is going on in America right now?
To be fair, I think we might have used that out of context.
Might have.
I don't think he's too fond of the Donald Trump. I'm not. Well, we have to get going this segment. Sorry, I hope I've crystallized the picture for you. But before we leave, you know what? We actually need to check in. Shia LaBeouf's He Will Not Divide Us, by the way, in case you haven't heard. He Will Not Divide Us, his live stream. And we're getting word that there actually might be a white supremacist there. Let's check in.
He will not divide us. 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 Copper, and I know my rights.
Yeah, but you didn't have the right to fight that protesting broad.
I have the right to remain silent, and I will say nothing to you, Fuzz.
Okay, but that'd be a shame for all this blue cheeses to go to waste.
Oh, I'll tell you everything.
I'm disappointed in you, Hopper. We had a lot riding you. It doesn't take a lot to buy you off. I'm disappointed. Where's your loyalty to God and country, sir? Speaking of God and country, we have Tim Kennedy, one of our wonderful veterans, coming up after this. Stay tuned.
P-O-G.
Dormio.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Oh, you're here.
Get out.
Hey, I was actually thinking.
Get out of my bed.
We should do some Dormio like commercials, like sketches. Maybe like you and I could like maybe we can get some. Maybe like two like side by side, like Bert and Ernie. Maybe we could do it that way.
How about no mattresses and I throw you in the pool? Get out of my bed.
Maybe, well, just think about it.
Seriously.
I
Get out.
Socks.
Get out.
Just get back to me when you want. I just no.
Hello, mattress, my old friend. I've come to lay with you again. Because a vision I was dreaming of you and I together sleeping. And the comfort.
Dormio mattresses. Sleepwithcrowder.com for specials and free shipping.
And a pillow.
Within the sound of silence.
You're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow.
I haven't danced to that one in a while because we have a
It's
new
been a while.
custom-made track. Good friend of the show, all over the news today. You know him. You love him. He waterboarded me. You can follow him at Tim Kennedy.
Some may say that's why they love him.
MMA. Some may say, we were just talking about that. I read that at on some news article today. It said Tim Kennedy, who most recently waterboarded Steven Crowder as part of a Christmas telethon. That makes it sound so much more worse than it actually was.
It does.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. You were very gentle.
No.
Okay, so let's go through the sequence of events here that led to why you're on the program. First off, so it was Deadspin, a sports website, and you can correct me if I get anything wrong here. Ted Cruz said he was playing basketball on the Hill, and so Deadspin asked him to send proof, and he sent this tweet, which Tim can't see, but he sent this tweet of a picture of a basketball player who looked like Ted Cruz. As a gag, it was actually pretty funny. This player looks like Ted Cruz, to which Deadspin promptly responded, "Go eat shit." So I want to make sure, some would say they were the instigator here. And then Ted Cruz posted the Anchorman meme that escalated quickly. I was like, okay, good thing the guy has a sense of humor. Then this reporter on Deadspin goes out and effectively challenges any and all Ted Cruz supporters to a fight and claims that no one will take him up on it. Enter Tim Kennedy. Do I have that timeline about right?
Yeah, but he really doubled down on, I mean, it wasn't like he just initially was like, hey, let's all fight.
There was more to it.
Yeah, I mean, after Ted Cruz, sent that picture of that Duke basketball player, which I thought was funny.
Me too.
And then it's like, oh, wow, that escalated quickly when he started cussing at us. And then Tim got on there, Marshman, and started just ranting all these ugly things, calling people all these horrible names and saying nasty things and cussing at people.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on, like what bad cup coffee he had, but
yeah. It was the mitotoxins. He needs to get Dave Asprey's coffee, mitotoxin free. Remember that?
He needs it. Finally, he's like, all right, well, I'm not getting enough attention, so I'm just going to call all these people and tell them that I'll fight them.
Right.
And then after he did that, he doubled down and was like, not only are all these people not going to fight me, but they probably can't even do a push-up.
Right. Yeah, and enter Tim Kennedy, to which you responded, "I am your huckleberry," for those who don't understand the Tombstone reference. Well played, Tim. Let it never be said that you are not a man filled to the brim with good film references. And, so you've actually, you were serious about this because you've raised some money. Glenn Beck put some money, and it's been matched, right? So how much money is at play right now, and have you heard a response?
Yeah. So Glenn Beck said he'd donate $50,000 to the charity of the winner. And I said I would personally
guess where that's going. It's not like Celebrity Apprentice where you're winning your task, making papier-mâché diapers. In a fist fight, I know where I'd place my bets.
Yeah, and I said I would match it with my personal money, that the winner of the fight would get a $50,000 donation from me to the winner of the choice.
Exactly a roll of the dice, though, let's be honest.
No. But the etymology reference from Tombstone actually goes all the way back to the medieval times, where the knights, once a woman had been kind of accosted or offended, a guy would ride up to her and she would place a piece of huckleberry garland on his lance or his sword, and effectively saying, I'm your hero, I'm here to back you up, whoever offended you, I'm going to fight against you. So
so it was appropriate for the scenario, but
the Renaissance man over here.
But I don't want to. I want to hear about you punching people. I don't want to hear about your intellectual contributions, Tim.
Let's be honest, Steve. He's not going to fight me.
No, I know.
No. So he's the embodiment. He is the personification of everything that is wrong with this current impotent culture.
Yeah.
This culture where I'm going to yell, I'm going to bark, I'm going to say all this tough guy stuff, but I'm not going to back it up with anything.
Right.
I'm going to be tough when there's 500 of us and we're smashing a window at a Starbucks.
Right.
But when it really comes down to the rubber meeting the road, there's not a man to be found.
No.
On that side of the argument.
No, and well, I wouldn't say on that. I would say certainly people like this at Deadspin.
Let's be honest, the flat whites have really taken a dive at Starbucks.
Yes, the
so they had it coming.
Dive at Starbucks. Careful, Tim Kennedy, also a coffee snob, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, that's true.
He is in Austin. You wouldn't expect it from him. Also, he makes pottery with Patrick Swayze behind him, the ghost of Patrick. Hey, don't lie. Don't lie. I saw you on Ghost Hunters. So here's something. People will say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite," because I challenged a guy who sucker punched me at that union rally to a fight, and they're like, "Oh, it's not the same thing." A guy sucker punched me, and I said, "Okay, same thing. Charity of your choosing, a sanctioned MMA bout." And I was very careful to phrase it that way. Basically, of course, you get the better. Someone could sucker punch you, and it could be lights out, even though it wasn't lights out. But I would never call out an entire ideology of people. For example, even liberals, because you know what? I know if I say no liberals can fight, I could get a phone call from Jeff Monson, and I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Jeff Monson's tough.
Yeah, Jeff Monson's a big dude. Also, walking human pincushion, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
So
I was aware.
Yes, it's very tough for me to compete with that. So what kind of, I was trying to do research on this guy. People will want, does he have some background? Like, does he have an ace up his sleeve? Does he train maybe?
I did no research. I don't care. No to all questions. No, he doesn't do anything. No, he's never done anything. He might wear a flannel shirt and walk around like a tough guy.
Yeah. Wait, is the flannel shirt the mark of the tough guy now? Because I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, like the millennial thing, like you walk down and these hipsters with their mustaches and their flannel shirts and their tight jeans, drinking, a $8 pour over cup of coffee.
Flat white.
IPA.
We bring it back to Jared's flat white.
Yeah. But they act like tough guys, but they don't. Like, they might as well carry an axe.
Well, you know what?
Never chop the tree down.
Or fanny pack.
I never perceived it that way. I always perceived them kind of doing the on the runway. It's called lumberjack fat look. That's what I thought it was. So
I think they coined the term lumber sexual, which I guess I'm guilty of today.
Yeah, well, you have the Newsboys cap, so it sort of takes it away from
It's
that.
kind of a weird juxtaposition.
Now, wasn't there someone else though who did say he would fight this guy who's not a professional fighter and asked you if you would be in his corner? So there have been several people who've stepped up to the plate, right?
Yeah, I think the most notable is Joey Jones, who's a double amputee. I mean, he has no legs. And he's like, listen, you're being a jerk. I will straight up hop in there and fight. Joey Jones is a hero. And I would put my money on Joey Jones, and I would unquestionably step in that guy's corner.
Yeah.
And then there was another guy that was just some random dude that's like, listen, I'm not a professional fighter. I'm not a Green Beret. I'm not a Special Forces sniper. I'm not a Ranger. I'm not 220 pounds of muscle. but I'll get in there. I'll give it my best whirl. I think people are forgetting that because for so long we, the conservatives, we've been turning our cheeks.
Yeah.
We have been kind. We have been generous. And people have mistaken that kindness for weakness.
Yeah.
Listen, we're talking about the largest group of Second Amendment lovers. We're talking about the guys that really do hard work, that have calloused hands, that are wearing freaking body armor, that's sitting in a rental car talking to you on the phone. These are the people that you're insulting. So listen, we've been kind for too long. I'm sick of turning my cheek. If these internet tough guys keep talking smack to my friends or anything about yes, I would love to have a rational, logical conversation, but what I'm not going to do is sit there and take it anymore.
Yeah, and that was a great speech until people realized that your rental car is a hybrid. So lost a little bit of steam there.
Was it really?
It is? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty common now.
Blake agrees it's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid. Yeah, he's going, oh. And his balls shrank 3 sizes that day. There's something, you walk into a hybrid, you're like, I'm Steven Seagal. My little nipples are lactating. What happened? It is. That's a good analogy. And they mistake our meekness for weakness. Hey, I didn't realize that guy was an amputee who challenged him. I did see one time that quadriplegic who fought MMA. Do you know what I'm talking about? He just kind of nubbles on up to his opponent.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't remember, but he was actually okay.
Yeah, well, he was, because you can't kick a downed opponent. And so the guy would just go on up there. I remember the guy looking at him, looking at the ref, and just kind of didn't know what to do. Didn't know how to handle it.
Do?
No,
I don't know.
Either way, it's like fighting a girl. There's no winning. It's like, I beat the quadriplegic. Well, you're a jerk. Or you lost to a quadriplegic. There's no good way to handle it. Maybe that's why the Deadspin guy isn't answering. So he's gone to complete radio silence. Has he emailed you in private like, hey, listen, man, I'm sorry. I went too far. Or is it a total tuck tail and run for now?
I mean, right now, I'm in the middle of nowhere at a shooting range.
That's true.
My email has been retweeted like 40,000 times.
Yes.
So I keep getting all of these awesome emails from fellow barrel-chested freedom fighters.
Yes.
We'll just call them that. Who are like, listen, I got your back. Whatever happens, I got your back. And I was like, sweet, dude. I love it. So I can't get to any of those emails right now because I have maybe 500 emails that have come in the past 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. But do you feel that with your statement just now about barrel-chested that you've at all marginalized the suitcase-chested? Because that's a common argument in the masculine community. You are barrel-chested, though. You're like a fire plug. You're a pretty compact guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a lot bigger the next time you see me.
Oh,
you saw me right after my fight.
That's true.
I'm back to like 220. I'm gonna be like 240 by the end of summer.
But why do you want to do that? Do you want to be like the kid in Hook, where you can just fold up your legs and roll down the ship like a cannonball?
Bang! I mean, just in case Jeff Monson picks up one of my tweets, I gotta be ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, Jeff Monson is an interesting character. Now we can get off into the weeds, but for people who don't know, he was I think he was arrested for spray painting on either Capitol steps or something. He's an anarchist, but then he calls himself an anarcho-socialist or anarcho-communist, and people acted like I was stupid. I was going, hold on, those two can't really be the same thing.
No, they don't. They contradict each other.
Okay, so it's not just me then. Jeff Monson's slightly retarded, even though he could beat me up.
Yeah, both of those concepts are completely on the opposite end and cannot coexist.
All right, so let's assume that this guy does not pick up the red telephone to fight you. What's next then for Tim Kennedy?
Well, in this little feud, I guess we just all acknowledge that all of these people that keep getting online and are tough guys in front of a computer. Let me remind you that there's people like me that like to read those things and aren't gonna take your shit.
Yeah. What if he shows up to your gym, but he's got body armor on and he has friends. And
I like this.
You do like this go. Well, I guess I forget that your gym would probably have a lot of your friends as well.
I don't think I need my friends for his friends.
Well,
let's just be clear. The first thing that would have to happen is I would have to hide my erection. Is that all of him and his friends would... The only thing they would hear is the door locking behind them.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah,
and then the House of Pain starts.
Yes, exactly. We'll hopefully have a DJ at your gym. along with a videographer. My dad always used that term. Remember that, Jordan? Dad would always say, hey, put him in a racquetball court, lock the door behind him, see who comes out.
Yeah.
And that was before the octagon existed.
Dad had a big mouth.
Yeah, racquetball court. Okay, but outside of that, Tim, I know people can find you on Twitter, but what about these courses and stuff that you have going on? Let people know where they can find you.
Man, I want to like walk around the corner so you can see what's going on right now. I'll just open the window.
Okay, let's see what this is for people. Well, right now we're just seeing the awful hybrid.
Hold on. I gotta get out of the car. I'm in body armor. This isn't an easy thing to do.
Sounds so childish for a fighter.
Oh, that's
come on.
So you can come to any sheepdog. Well, Steve, you need to come to one of my sheepdog courses and go shooting with us.
I would love. We should send Not Gay Jared to that. He's actually probably shoots more often than I do, but would still probably cower like a small girl.
I'm sure he'd be fine. So essentially, what happens?
All right. So you're not wearing the protective ear gear, Tim. I don't know how I feel about this.
Hey, Shane. How you guys doing?
Hey, those guys waterboarded me too.
Yeah, he was waterboarding you.
Yeah.
It's like a family reunion.
How you doing?
Okay, so tell people real quick. We have to go, Tim. The sheepdog course. What is it for people who are interested?
So right now, this is all law enforcement gear.
Okay.
It's loud.
Yeah, I know. That's the gun part of it.
That's what guns are. So it's essentially a few days of fighting, learning how to be the hardest person somebody ever tries to kill. So we go over hand-to-hand combat, defensive tactics, self-defense, and then we go into shooting, knife fighting. It's taught by the highest, most experienced Special Forces, Navy SEAL badasses on the planet.
Yeah. So it's like a silent retreat, except you learn how to kick ass.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
All right, Tim Kennedy, at Tim Kennedy MMA. Thank you so much for being with us. And listen, we'll have to have you come back and update us if this guy takes you up on the offer.
I would love it. I'm there.
All right, thank you, good sir. That was Tim Kennedy, and we'll be back after this. I think we have Anne McElhinney coming on up. Oh, she's Irish.
No, I need the pending memory home springs. Ah!
In restless sleep I toss alone on this old mattress made of stone. Would prefer to sleep on Dormio. Nothing really rhymes with Dormio, but it's the best sleep that I've ever had. So scoot your tad, make room for me on the Dormio.
Dormio mattresses. Sleepwithcrowder.com for specials and free shipping.
And a pillow.
All right, Jared, mute the mic of our guest here.
She is
glad to
muted.
be back. I can't believe she's got some nerve. How many times do you hear me do live reads? Once a week. That's when you hear me do live reads. And, of course, we're talking about the Mug Club this week. Thanks so much for everyone who signed up. If waterboarding wasn't enough, we went undercover to the Women's March dressed as women, so we were publicly humiliated for you. And
All for you.
You get daily credit right now. You get the free live stream. That doesn't change. We've always said this. All the free stuff is still free. Thursday, daily articles, daily videos. Absolutely. But if you want the daily show at crtv.com, $99 annually, $69 for students, military, or veterans. Active military veterans. You shouldn't be an active veteran. Relax at that point. Take it easy. And you know what? Not only does it give you access, obviously, to this hand-etched mug, which is high quality, but allows us to fight back against the left, and it keeps people employed. We've got Jared, we've got Jordan, we've got Edward, we've got Aaron, we've got Brodigan, Courtney, Casey, Francine, Lacey, Scott, and all of them are employed by your dollar, supporting it, keeping us out of the social media. Well, we're still on the social media ghettos, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, but we can't be dependent on them because they can decide to try and shut that valve off anytime. So listen, if you can't afford it, it's about $5.85 a month, and we'll still give you all the free stuff that you get. If you can't afford it, we appreciate it, and we're really putting out some good content for you there. crtv.com, louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub. Every day. Oh gosh, it's just I have to sip I don't know if you know this. The beverage quality is improved.
It's actually better.
42%. My gynecologist told me so. Let's go on like this is going well.
It's better to
right, we need to work on our audio hand signals. We are going to your live tweets before we bring on our next guest. Jordan, what are the results from the poll earlier?
The poll, do you want me to read the question you asked?
Yes, let's read the question and give us the results.
Okay, it's, has Donald Trump brought us closer to doomsday? Reading the results later on. Okay.
Later on, it should say.
I
misspelled it. Gosh, well, thanks for being a brother there, Jordan.
And drawing all the attention to that.
I honestly hadn't read it until
Also, Stephen, you wet your pants till you were 4.
Well,
all right, continue.
8%
for 7.
8% said yes. 40% said no.
Okay.
34% said CBS sucks, and 18% said we're all gonna die.
Well, thank you for the. I appreciate that you put more enthusiasm into that than actually assisting your brother and covering up his flaws. We have to stop skewing those polls. Seems like those additional options could be skewing those polls. Yeah. Some great tweets, some great images, but you can bring this up. Michael Ian Black decided to tweet me while we were on here. A couple million followers. Seems like he's gone off the deep end. What is he? Is he a UCB guy?
I think so. I don't know which. He's one of those improv.
He's been on Comedy
schools.
Central quite a bit.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot
He's
of.
actually his stuff is actually very funny. I've always thought so. A lot of the stuff I've watched him in.
He has been funny,
but he's gone a little off the deep end on Twitter this election season.
What's odd is he took an old video from 9 months ago. This was years ago. The Lena Dunham rape culture, Jared.
Yeah.
And all he tweeted back. Sorry, this is a very leftist thing. Is holy shit. Period.
Yeah.
Nothing else, as that's an argument. So I offered him to come on to the show to discuss to air his grievances, and he responded to me like 19 times. And it's remarkable how a guy for 2 million followers gets no retweets or likes. It really is weird. It says, I appreciate the offer, but we feel slightly ridiculous debating rape culture with another dude. There are many victims who would be far better to speak than myself. In fact, probably every single adult woman I know could share with you. So I offered him to speak with one of our head writers, Michael Ian Black, Courtney Kirchhoff, or Casey. And of course, he declined. What else did he write? Again, I would encourage them to speak with victims of sexual abuse because I'm not one. I don't feel qualified to speak on their behalf, but I believe their stories. I've heard so many. So listen, Michael Ian Black. Close-minded, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. You want to come on here and just tweet out some blanket holy shit. So this is what we've talked about with the left, right? Where you say, hey, rape culture is not true.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, well, no, I believe it's true, here's some statistics, right? The left goes, oh, holy shit, can you believe this guy? Well, yeah. Yeah, we can. Hey, Islam tends to create more violent cultures than Christianity in the modern world. Can you believe he said that? Yes.
Yes.
The Women's March was, by and large, a farce. With all the pussy hats and Ashley. Can you believe he talks about the Women's March? Mm-hmm. This is what they do. It's like, well, present an argument. You've been invited onto the show. You try to take a parting shot, Michael Ian Black. You've got more Twitter followers than I do. You have the support of Viacom, Comedy Central, these networks. You've been in some films. I know, right? We're just some kids with a podcast, that started out in a den. So listen, man, prove me wrong. Prove one of my writers wrong. And by the way, how do you not know that Courtney or Casey or maybe one of our wives or sisters or mothers experienced sexual assault? So, but again, none of that would matter, Michael, if you had the testicular fortitude just to show up. Just to enter the arena, brother. Just show up. Swing the bat once. I don't even care if it's a foul ball. We don't care. Just show up. Just don't take parting shots like a coward. And I think that once you start doing that, you'll regain the respect of your following. I think that was don't seem overly eager to tweet you.
There's too many sports reference though for a guy like Michael Ian Black.
Well, you know what?
You got to speak his language.
He's probably more of a jock than I am. I always find it remarkable. What did he say here? That was my point. I can't speak from personal experience, and I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf. Well, you spoke on behalf of the offended social justice warriors, Michael Ian Black. That's why you left that comment. So, listen, I think you're funny. I think you're a talented guy. I think you're bright enough that we could have a discussion. It could be productive. But these ideas can never actually be discussed if you don't show up. And hey, isn't it great, Michael Ian Black, that you live in a town and work in an industry where no one expects you to? That's the miracle of soft expectations. They expect you to be a buttersoft little bitch, and you continue to be, and by God, you are right on par with exactly what they want from you. All right, we have a guest to come up here who seems eager. She's chomping at the bit. I always love her because she comes out with her voice, can make any day a happy day. I think for her, she's celebrating. Before she comes on, I have to give her a plug, gosnellbook.com. You know, they did Gosnell movie before. She talked about that. Dean Cain was in it. And I know they ran into some hiccups, speaking of the entertainment industry. They're not super keen on the abortion films. gosnellbook.com. And McElhinney, you said you were celebrating today. You went to the White House? Fill us in.
Oh, it's great to see you, Stephen. I just want to do. I can't not mention the fact that Stephanie is a new favorite person of mine. Stephanie needs her own show. I think we need a reality show with Stephanie. I want to know everything about Stephanie. I want to be watching Stephanie. You know, just like mornings with Stephanie, afternoons with Stephanie. Evenings with Stephanie. So I'm just going to put that right out there right now.
Pretty much all times of day with Stephanie.
Breakfast at
we could do an answer to the View. You and Stephanie could sit around a round table, drink too much coffee, and say stupid things.
I think this is a whole future for us, Stephen. I think we have something to talk about here. And I know that you're the agent for Stephanie, so if you could talk to her, whatever, yeah?
I'll have her people speak with your people.
I am celebrating. I am celebrating. I, in fact, even have brought a glass of wine to prove to you that I'm celebrating because, you know, a lot of people are tweeting and saying that they're tired of winning. I'm not tired of winning. I'm just liking winning.
Okay.
Our book was published.
Yeah, Gosnell book.
On Tuesday, and on Tuesday, the book went to #3 in the bestsellers on Amazon, not in any category. In all the categories.
Awesome.
And it slipped a little bit this week, and it went back to #3 today. Wow. I was on the Rush Limbaugh show today. I was on O'Reilly on Tuesday. But here's the thing that happened then that paled all of that into insignificance in a way and just made everything just kind of crazy and amazing and providential.
Mm-hmm.
I got an invitation to the White House today.
From Mr. Donald Trump, or was it from his...
I have just come back from the White House where I have met Vice President Pence and his beautiful wife, and I have met Kellyanne Conway, who is, you know, let's talk about women. Let's get into this whole women thing.
I know.
You know, and let's celebrate women.
Well, you missed our we were talking about this earlier, where they talk about how it's our time to stand up to Donald Trump as journalists, and HuffPo trotted out some old, it was like a charity thing where Kellyanne Conway in the early 90s was doing stand-up, which granted was really bad, but she's not a stand-up comedian. It was for charity. And to me, it's gotten to the point where they want to pat themselves on the back for being brave journalists, but they will go after people who have at any point worked for Trump for the most trivial kind of crap. Yeah. And of course, if anyone on the right did it, it would be considered wildly sexist. But Mike Pence, I imagine that he would have a firm handshake.
Mike Pence. So we're in the room. It's, you know, first of all, we go through the whole security thing, and you know, I think it'll take me a while to get over the fact of what just happened to me. You know.
Yeah.
He didn't do
anything inappropriate.
I'm an immigrant. I'm one of those immigrants. Okay. I'm one of those legal immigrants. So grateful to be here, and every time I renew my visa, I can tell you I don't mind the hassle, because I'm grateful that I'm allowed to be here. Right. I haven't done the green card because it's very laborious and I'm really, really busy. But I am not worried about spending money and spending time on getting a visa because I'm really grateful to be here.
Yeah.
And we go to I was in the White House today. I was there today. I met...
This is Ann after a glass of wine.
I met the Vice President. I met his wife. I met Kellyanne. And I'm like... And here's the really, I mean, amazing. I meet Kellyanne, Phelan and I meet Kellyanne, and we're just so, like, you know, your listeners know this. It's like, oh my God, I'm standing in front of Kellyanne, and I'm like, with Kellyanne, and Phelan kind of got all kind of mumbly and kind of like we're meeting a rock star, which we were meeting a rock star.
Right.
And so Phelan says, you know, we're the people who did, you know, we're doing the Gosnell film, and she went, I know exactly who you are.
Oh,
she said, I know exactly who you are. And by the way, Gosnell isn't everything that you did. You did Frack Nation. You did all these other films. And we're like going, I'm on your database. I get your letters. And I'm going, oh my God, that's what happened today. And then we meet
Ann, I hope you didn't react this way. It's less than professional it's unbecoming of a professional filmmaker of your
I was
level.
really good. I was good, Stephen. I'm only saving my bad for you.
Okay,
I do my bad with you.
So you said
I was really good and I was dignified, but maybe I was a little awestruck, and I was And when I met the vice president, I met the vice president. Listen to me here. I'm saying those words.
Yeah.
Not even kind of, you know what I mean, owning them.
Yeah.
But I met the vice president.
hold on a
and by the
second.
way, people can go to the
That's
our
where period
Facebook
and time
page and see the
matters,
photograph.
because if you were saying this 4 years ago, it would have been I was fondled by the vice president. So you're better off now.
My granddaughter went missing around the vice president.
I met the wonderful vice president. I met the wonderful vice president's wife, who are so. They are people, and I know, we're having some fun, and we want to have a lot of fun here. But they are people of faith, and he spoke. I felt part of history tonight when he spoke about why he was there and why this was important, and he was there with his wife, who had dedicated themselves. And tomorrow is the March for Life, and they had dedicated themselves so many years ago that their mission in life was for life. And he quoted the Bible. He talked about prayer. He talked about the importance of prayer.
Yeah.
And oh my God! I mean, you were there in this room tonight with him and thought, now this is what greatness looks like. This is what this looks like.
Yeah.
These are people of grace and providential people.
Yeah.
Who we're really lucky, and I'm celebrating. I'm having a glass of wine.
And
he's got one hell of enjoy that.
He's got one hell of a jawline. But okay, Anne, we don't have too much time. So I do want to get to this. They invited you because of the Gosnell book. Now, what's interesting to me too with the film before the book, I've known you and Philim for, well, I guess back since Andrew introduced us, so 2009-ish.
That's right.
And you were not pro-life activists at all. You looked into this because you were journalists, real journalists.
We had a taco. We had a seafood taco together in where? Manhattan Beach,
Manhattan
right?
Beach at Wahoo's, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember you were saying, well, we're going to move to Los Angeles. And Philim said, something about Los Angeles. I said, okay, Philim, I'm going to go with her. I'm going to listen to her. Nothing personal. They said, anywhere we could move would be better than here in Manhattan Beach. It's so beautiful. And I said, I know, but there are plenty of nice places. I know the tacos are good.
I remember, my God, you've got a great memory. I've had too many glasses of wine to have the clearest memory of that. But I do remember us meeting. I remember it really well. I remember liking you from the get-go. And I love the relationship we have. And here's the thing about the book, and here's the thing about people buying the book, and I'm going to show it and in a kind of flagrant
hold on
way.
1 second. Let me just preface for people who don't know. We can't get through everything because we've talked about this. Go back through our archive shows. Gosnell was a horrific serial killing abortionist is the only way I can describe it. To actually understand the horror that is abortion and certainly how it ties into the modern regressive left, you really need to look into the stories of Gosnell. Anne and Philim have written about it, and I have yet to read the book. I should be getting it this week. I'm really looking forward to it. So that sets the stage because a lot of people don't know yet. And that's the reason for this book.
Yeah. And the book, we're getting a lot of very, very good feedback. It's the #3 bestseller in the United States of America right now.
Right.
On Amazon. And there's three things. There's three things the book does. The book tells the personal stories of these children.
Yeah.
Of the children who died. And particularly baby boy A, who shares the birthday with my own father. The 12th of July, 2008, 2008 obviously, but 12th of July is my father's birthday. And this is a child who lived and died on the same day. But his life mattered, and his life is significant.
Mm-hmm.
And his life will matter a great deal more the more people read the story and the more people watch the movie, the more this story gets out. He's the center of the movie. He is the center of the movie, baby boy A.
Yeah.
Who lived, who Gosnell joked about, he's the baby that Gosnell said, this baby's big enough to walk me to the bus stop.
Yeah.
He's the baby also, though, that Adrienne Moten took a photograph of. And we write about this in the book. Adrienne Moten took a photograph of baby boy A. And I've interviewed her. And she said that when they came to arrest her, when the cops came to arrest her, she was relieved.
Wow.
That's what she said. Yeah. And then she said to them, I'm going to give you this phone. And she had an old phone. And you know the way you guys, people, your listeners, and know this stuff, and people watching tonight, they know this stuff that, you have a phone, like an old phone, and then you throw that phone out and you get a new phone, like a regular whatever. She kept the phone. She kept that old phone. And when the cops turned up, she had the phone and she said to them, you need to take the phone. There's a photograph there that's important. And she said, and finally, I'm free.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
free. That's what she said about baby boy A. And the photograph of baby boy A, people can look it up online. Baby boy A, Gosnell. If you put that in, you'll see the photograph. It's not for everyone to watch that. It's not for everyone to see that.
Right.
And I speak to pro-life audiences across the country, and I always now, I've learned. I used to be a pro-choice. I was that person.
Right.
Not that long ago. And so now I go to these groups who ask me to speak, and I always say to them, I'm not going to show you any photographs. And people applaud. People applaud me when I say that. And so I'm very conscious of people not wanting to see photographs, and I'm not going to be forcing people to see photographs. But baby boy A mattered. And at the end of the book, we have a whole section about the 47 bodies of the babies that were found on the premises have been buried now. And a lot of Christian folk and good folk came along, and not just Christian folk, I would say just good folk, maybe not necessarily religious, came along and wanted those children to be buried and to have people memorialize them and people know them and do something to remember that they were remembered, that they are remembered. And there are, at the end of the book, we have a load of quotations from the people who went to that memorial service. And there will be a permanent memorial there. And I'm really happy about that. I hope that memorial is made before they make a memorial to Michael Brown, which they say they're going to do.
Right.
And the people who went there spoke really beautifully, and those words were in the back of the book. And they said, you were not forgotten.
No.
You were not unwanted. We wanted you, and we came for you with love. And your lives matter. And I would challenge anyone to have a dry eye reading the actual words of the people who spoke at that beautiful ceremony that happened. And this is an amazing book. This is an amazing book, and I actually encourage people to buy it. And I say to people, people think, a lot of people listening tonight probably, Stephen, are thinking to themselves, I can't read that. I can't read that. You know what? You can. And you know what? It's a privilege to be a witness to life. Mm-hmm. And it's a privilege to be a witness to everything. I'm privileged to be a journalist who got to tell this story. I'm not sorry for myself. People have written beautiful things to me and said, we're praying for you. We know you're suffering. And I have suffered. I've cried.
Oh, sure.
And I never prayed for many, many years until I read the testimony of Steve Massoff, which is in the book. And it made me kneel down beside the computer. So I came back to prayer through this.
Well, that's an incredible, that his testimony actually is what created, yours. That's an unbelievable story to tell. And I will say this. This is, we were talking about this week. We don't have too much time, and I'll give you the last word. But I think a line in the sand, we were talking about this when we were at the Women's March, and we were there, and it was really just a scene of just depravity. And I was going, these people, the Dan Savages of the world, the McElhinney Blacks of the world, they went out there and they mocked Rick Santorum and his family. They had a stillborn. And they brought it home a long time ago, and they brought it to their family.
I know that story.
Yeah,
of course.
So they brought it to their family, and they brought it to say, hey, listen, this is your baby. I don't know, it was a brother or sister. I don't want to get that wrong. This is your baby brother. This is your baby sister. They wanted their kids to understand that it was life, and they buried it. And the left said, hey, isn't that weird? While they're taking bong hits, showing their tits, wearing a pussy hat at the Women's March. And I'm going, hold on a second. The people who want men to go into women's rooms, they say that it's considered hate speech for a vagina to be a requirement to be a woman. All of this stuff that was being spoken about at the Women's March. And to them, the weird thing is somebody having a stillborn child and considering it a life. And if that doesn't show you the difference between good and evil today, if that doesn't show you between who really is the political party of depravity and hopelessness and a party of life, I'm not talking about just politicization in the news, but life versus darkness, I really do think there's a line in the sand there. And that's as close as I get to On My Soapbox. I hope people read the book, gosnellbook.com. Go ahead.
And I gave a book to Vice President Pence this evening, and I wrote on it, and if you've got just a second for me to tell you that, I wrote in the dedication to the Vice President, I said to Vice President Pence, silence in the face of evil is evil. Not to act, not to speak is to speak, not to act is to act. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for acting. You are an inspiration, sir. and we signed it. And I do think I cannot tell you how significant it was to me to be in that room with him, for him to be so warm and kind to us, and Kellyanne, and to recognize the book and to recognize what we're trying to do here. This story is shocking. The story, we could talk forever, Stephen, and you know that, and I know you're trying to wrap up. But, your law, the law in the United States of America, the only place really that has the laws like you have is North Korea. And if you want to be like North Korea, that's not the America I think an awful lot of people want to live in. And I even mean progressives. Yeah. If they want to be compared to North Korea, that you can have an abortion at 9 months, that's the law here. That's the law here. And that's the strength of this book, because it reminds people of what this is really about. Well, and it puts a face on these children.
Yeah, and it's important to realize, to take that face, to think of it, and then think of Wendy Davis and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and those people who it went from safe, legal, and rare, which I still would say morally is an argument, still wrong, to abortion, taxpayer-funded, on-demand, no questions asked, period. And people need to understand, that's the main platform of the Democratic Party right now. That's not some social justice fringe. That is Wendy Davis to roaring applause. Anyone out there, read the book, gosnellbook.com, and then read the platform of the Wendy Davises of the world. Please do. And then, listen, you can come to us, tweet me, tweet Ann McElhinney, and let them know your opinions. Ann McElhinney, gosnellbook.com. Thank you so much. Go back to the wine. Be a happy drunk, love.
We love you so much, Stephen. It's obscene.
Well, thank you. So we love you. We all talk about how much we love you here too, but we have to slam dunk you here. Ann McElhinney, thank you so much for being here. And hang up on her. You're gonna make it awkward now if you don't hang up on her, because then it makes me seem meaner than I am. Thank you so much to Ann McElhinney, and maybe we'll have Falim on one time when he gets coached on speaking American. We are going to be back to wrap this show up in a nice ribbon for you. Final segment, last segment of the week. Stay tuned.
Looks like Timmy's in for a checkup because he's feeling sluggish. Oh, Timmy, just as the doctor suspected, you have IEDS, Informative Entertainment Deficiency Syndrome. The good news is there's a cure for that. LottoWithCrowder.com/mugclub. For only $99 annually, $69 for students, active military, or veterans, you can cure yourself of the plague that is IEDS. LottoWithCrowder.com/mugclub. Don't be a bitch.
We legitimately hold our breath for that entire segment.
We do. There's no reason to. No one would know.
Because we wait for this last segment.
Holding my breath.
Every week. Speaking of which, starting next week, it's not the last segment because Not Gay Jared and Courtney Scoffs have a show starting. I don't know what that looks like, so I'm very nervous. And we have a bunch of guests next week. We have, what's his name? Sean, Merriman.
Yep.
Sean Merriman. I believe Bo Derek. I don't know. I believe a whole bunch. And we have something. I will tell you this. We have to be careful. We may have a shorter show next Wednesday, because we'll be reporting on location on Thursday in a way that we've never done before. It's a big risk, but if we do, I think you'll want to tune in. And it's not a fake tease. If we say something like this, it means that we're all going on the road. We will be putting in quite a bit of effort. So next week could be a little bit of a screwy schedule. We appreciate you working with us. We are not taking time off. We will be en route. Thank you so much to Tim Kennedy and McElhinney. And here's something that I do think is an important takeaway. We were talking about this week. All throughout the week, it's actually kind of amazing. I've always tried to be relatively fair. I'm biased, but my rules are be open about my biases, be open about where my point of view lines up, and more importantly, never attack someone without offering them recourse. Never attack someone and take a parting shot. So I'm not saying that I'm bipartisan or a journalist. I'm not. Okay, please understand that, and please don't use me as your main news source. I never want to be like Jon Stewart. I want you reading from everywhere. As a matter of fact, I prefer you reading from the leftist sources. Half the stories we run come from Salon or Daily Kos or Huffington Post, because I think it's important to be informed on the other side. So, that being said, I like to think that we're relatively fair on this show, even though we're biased. And I've always tried to say, I think there are people who are obviously, and I still believe this, who are wrong on the left, but aren't bad people. But I will say, this isn't necessarily emblematic of the left as a whole, or people who pull the lever for Democrats as a whole. But the regressive left, as Dave Rubin puts it, the modern Democratic Party and their complicit media, we have reached the point, and again, I'm not throwing all liberals in this category, but we have reached a point where the media and the DNC are borderline compulsive liars, if you see it this week. And you know how you see it when somebody continually repeats something? They vehemently repeat it. It's almost always a lie. And that's how you know. When they continually say, feminists are the majority. We talked about that, right? Feminists are the majority. Feminism, not even close. Women are the majority of the United States of America, and feminists make up about a fifth of women. So take half the country, take a fifth of that. The math is about a tenth. But this was everywhere. The media reported it because they try and draw this correlation. Well, the march was the biggest march in modern American history. That's about 2.5 million people out of a country of 350 million people, out of 164 million women. Therefore, since this is the biggest march, feminists are the majority. Most women can't stand them. It's not the biggest march. It's not even the biggest civil rights movement. It's certainly not the most effective political movement. Remember, they tried to do that with the Occupy Wall Streeters, saying this is a real first grassroots movement. Well, what about the Tea Party? Now look at what happened. The Tea Party, they primaried incumbents. They brought in new politicians. They took over the House and Senate. Where's Occupy Wall Street? There might be one guy still dropping deuces in Zanotti Park. That's about it. They're nowhere to be found. It's going to be the same with the vagina hats. You hear this week where we need to be brave. We need to stand up. You know what, reporters, it's time we start standing up to Donald Trump. People are afraid. Hey, respect to my fellow journalists who are brave. You are brave. You are brave. I am brave. You are brave. They're all cowards. It's a consistent lie. They pat themselves on the back because they know that if they position themselves as the party of opposition, as the underdog, which they're not. Here's what's important to note. This is not the same kind of presidency as Barack Obama. And we were worried about this somewhat because, you know, historically, Republicans, conservatives have gotten complacent under a Republican president. And we said, well, you know, with this election, when it looked like Hillary was going to win, or it looked, you know, like there was a decent chance, we said, well, at least, you know, we'll be fighting against Hillary. And we know that we can be the voice of opposition. We can help with that. And we thought that if Donald Trump won, people would kind of take some time off, which tends to happen a lot. But that's not the case. And you know why it's so remarkable? This is the big difference between Barack Obama was the man. He was the establishment. There's no doubt about that. But Donald Trump still isn't. You know why? Barack Obama had the media in his back pocket. Barack Obama had the entertainment industry in his back pocket. Look at Bruce Springsteen performing the private banquet for Obama. And Bono sitting there mocking George W. Bush when he was coming in with Barack Obama. The cool kids table who consistently mock Donald Trump and tell all of you that you're stupid and racist for voting for him. It's not the same thing. The establishment is not the guy in the White House. The man, so to speak, are the people who control information. And right now, for a limited time only, that's still traditional media and the entertainment industry, but that's going away pretty quickly. Join the Mug Club if you want to support that. That's where people like us are able to equalize that playing field. So it's important to note, they are not the party of opposition, and they know that, and so they lie, and they say, well, we need to be brave and stand up against Donald Trump. You need to be brave? You're the same people who were mocking his campaign manager for a bad stand-up set in the early 90s? You need to be brave? You're mocking his child? You need to be brave? You're mocking what he likes to eat? It has been nothing but a doggy pile on the Trumps. They are not brave. This is not some modern civil rights movement, and you don't need to buy it. So if there's anything to take away, if someone continually repeats something, and you see this in the media, at any point, immediately question it. Immediately, if your friends do it, if your friend consistently says, you know what, bro, I can bench 400 pounds. You know, I was squatting 500 pounds for 8 reps. Immediately go, you know, I think you're lying. If you have to bet your life, bet it on them lying, because generally, someone who can actually accomplish what they're claiming they can accomplish doesn't need to claim it. So if the media was really being brave, it would be recognized. Right? If this were the biggest civil rights march of all time in modern American history, it would be recognized. We would know it. A few vagina hats and a crazy Ashley Judd tirade does not a modern civil rights movement make. So don't be fooled. You don't have to buy it. If you hear them repeating it, it's likely a lie. See you next week. I love you. Mostly.
It only takes